everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klesson, joined by
Jabron.
The Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
Yes, we are, and we are coming off another fabulous sports betting weekend. What'd you think of the Sphere real quick?
Yeah, that was awesome. The last two fights were a little less than expected. Kind of a dud.
Yep.
My boy Sugar didn't come out, looked kind of flat. Obviously not a good wrestler,
Right.
trying to stay up on his feet. But yeah, everything was awesome that I've seen from the Sphere, and it was cool. But yeah, I really wish those two championship fights would have went off.
Yeah, I think if there would have just been better fights to wrap up, you know that it would have been. But the production was awesome. I saw some clips from it and everything else. And
crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty freaking cool. And like Dana White does, he always does it big.
Yeah, and it became the highest grossing thing for them ever.
Yeah.
So I mean.
It's tough to say it was a flop.
It was very tough to say it was a flop, especially, making more money than McGregor fights and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a success for the UFC. Just wish that Sugar would have won and would have been a little bit more entertaining.
Yeah, he kind of got a little embarrassed there.
He just got wrestled.
Yep.
That's what happens.
Yep. But we also had Nebraska covering once again.
Yeah.
They are 3-0 against the spread, and they're 3-0 in real life.
Awesome.
First time since 2016. First time since, I think, 2005 that they've held their first three opponents under 20 points.
Friggin' awesome.
The defense is, and
it's for real.
And say what you want about Colorado, that's a darn good offense with really good athletes. I know their offensive line has holes, but whose doesn't?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So,
and then I thought holding UNI to just 3 points, even though that they had long sustaining drives on us a whole bunch of times, where they're getting first downs on third and long and going for it on fourth a couple times. We still didn't let them score. Only 3 points in the game. I thought that was a very good testament to the defense. So, very excited for this week. Top 25 showdown in Lincoln.
And that's where we're going to start.
Okay.
Right in Lincoln, Nebraska. Your 3-0 Huskers are hosting your 3-0 Fighting Illini out of Illinois. And wouldn't you know it, it's a top 25 matchup.
It is.
The Illini is ranked 24th, and Nebraska's at 22nd. Both teams have really been a cash cow as far as covering the spread. We already mentioned Nebraska is 3-0 ATS. Illinois is much of the same way. It's tough to decipher who's been more battle-tested. I would like to think, that's an impressive win for Illinois at home over Kansas.
No doubt.
I think the same can be said for Colorado. Game for Nebraska.
It kind of seems like the same exact game for both squads, Andy.
Yeah.
Kansas was very highly touted coming into the season, top 25 team, all that kind of stuff. Colorado, same amount of buzz on their side with a whole bunch of offensive players, like you just said. So it's really looking like a mirror game for both teams here, that they're going on really good defenses, hanging their hat on the defense, and two teams that like to run the ball as well.
And, Brett Bielema, that's his thing, a power rushing attack. But that's not this team necessarily.
Yeah.
They're having a little bit of trouble running the ball, so they're leaning much more on their pass offensively. I think Nebraska fans might be a little surprised once they get about halfway through that first half with how much Illinois is working the ball through the air.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that, how that's going to impact the line. Real quick, we'll just go through the line history here as far as the point spread. On the 15th, it opened up at 8.5, got bet up really quick to 9 points.
Yeah.
Everybody thought, that's too much.
That's
Illinois
too
is
much.
too good.
Yeah.
Got bet down relatively quick, back down to 8.5. Now I think we're seeing mostly a consensus all the way down to 7.5.
Correct.
And this is a typical Nebraska game, right? The line is moving.
Yeah.
And as soon as it shifts one way, here it comes swinging right back. I wouldn't be surprised if right before kickoff we have lines at 7. We got lines at 8.5. I mean, this is just all over the place.
I do think it's going to stay pretty steady at 7 and above, Andy, because I do believe the consensus is Nebraska's the better team, by a touchdown and giving us our flowers at Memorial Stadium. A lot of people think that is a cheat code for Nebraska playing under the lights at Memorial Stadium.
Yeah,
so,
I
don't see this thing going under 7 points just because I think the consensus is there that we are a touchdown better than this team to the average eye or whatever. The line that I really want to talk about, Andy, is the over 43.5 points. That seems like it's going to stick there.
Yeah, it does.
And I really like the over right out the gate.
Really?
I love the over. A lot of people are going to say, "What are you talking about, Jared? You're just talking about how good the defenses for both teams are."
Yeah.
I like these two offenses, Andy. They can score. Both of them can score in a hurry.
Yeah.
And between the two teams, you can't rule out a shootout for this game, Andy, because both teams are going to be trying to keep that undefeated, record alive. It's kind of like a do or die situation for both teams to stay in the top 25. Yeah. I'm not going to say it's a make or break game for either team, but it kind of is early in the season. It's national spotlight Friday night, only game that people are going to be watching, Andy.
Yes.
Both teams are going to want to put up points, so I like the over 43.5 points, no matter which way this game goes.
That's very interesting. I'll give you a little bit of fuel for that fire there.
Yeah.
Luke Altmaier, the quarterback for the Fighting Illini, has 647 yards.
Yeah.
With 6 touchdowns, 0 picks.
Ooh.
Has a completion percentage of 69.2%.
Yeah.
So, yes, he can spin it, and he takes care of the ball. And I've already mentioned that, how this team is different than Illinois teams of past.
Yeah.
Brett Bielema teams in the Big Ten of past.
Yeah.
Where they kind of have turned one-dimensional in a few games here, where they do have to rely more on the passing game than and if you follow Illini football, and I haven't except for this week, closely, real closely.
We're getting into it now.
And Bielema's talks about that, where, I wish we were a little bit better at running the ball, but we're 3-0 and our offense is working. So, take it as it is. And that's also just good coaching. Working to your players, to your players' strengths.
Yeah.
Right. But for that reason, I'm going to turn that on its head. I'm going to go the under.
Yeah.
And it's because I believe our defense, they're on fire. That front seven is awesome. I think they can get to the quarterback with only rushing 4. And Illinois, I think there's already been a mapped out way to get them one-dimensional, and they've been falling in it against the likes of Kansas, Central Michigan, was it?
Yeah.
So I just think that Nebraska defense can keep that down, and also we've seen it from Nebraska where Rule. He doesn't care about style points.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about running the score up on somebody. He's more worried about running a program, protecting players from injury, getting guys the reps.
Yeah.
A big development guy. everything he said, he's kind of followed through with.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's awesome.
And for those reasons, I like the under there, but I see your path to the over.
Yeah.
For me, there's too many things pointing to that under.
Well, I hope you're absolutely correct, Andy. I hope this doesn't turn into a shootout because we haven't really saw Nebraska in that spotlight yet. Obviously, we're going to have to see it at some point when we get up against some of the higher ranked people in the Big Ten. But this is a huge game. I just think that both sides are going to be up for it. I got a couple player props, Andy. One on each side that I really have honed in on.
Okay.
For the Illinois, on the other side, best player bet for me is Pat Bryan. Anytime touchdown is a plus 150 right now, Andy. Like you said, they have been able to air the ball out, and this is their guy. Fighting Illini, he leading them in receiving yards, in touchdowns up to this point. I just believe they're going to be, fluttering it out to him the entire time. So at a plus 150, I believe it's great value for their best player on offense.
I like that too. I'm just looking at some of his stats. In over 3 games, he has 4 scores.
Yeah.
15 receptions, over 230 yards. So he's
we're going to be honed in on him, but I believe he gets enough targets that it's probably going to happen. At plus 150 for their best player, I think it's a very, very good bet.
And there can be an argument there. Zahir Franklin, the other side receiver, he has 16 receptions, nearly 200 yards receiving. Yeah. So you're not going to be able to just focus in on one guy.
Yeah, I agree.
And Altmaier can move the ball around.
Yep.
He's an accomplished quarterback, and he's been terrific so far this season.
Yeah.
You got to have some Husker props.
Yeah, my other side is Dante Dowdell, our quote unquote starting running back with Ramiro Johnson.
1-4.
But Dante is a plus 125 for anytime touchdown score. We're going to get in to the red zone inside the 5-yard line, and this guy is going to score. Dante is averaging 5.9 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns on the year. Shifty running back that can be in store for a big game. Rule's already said that he wants a guy in this game to eclipse 20 carries, and this is going to be the guy, I believe, and he's going to get in there. in the red zone and score a touchdown for us.
Absolutely love
Plus
how
125.
And I love how we're using those running backs right now.
Love it.
I'm a big deal, I guess. I would like to see a starter rather than or on the depth chart. That's semantics. I don't really care. Run your program, run it how you want.
Yeah.
What I like is how Dowdell, he's a hammer.
Yeah, no.
And they
He's
use
saying
him.
he wants to go out there and lick people for sure.
And yeah, we saw it in Colorado, right? Broke Shiloh's shoulder.
He said I could have juked him if I wanted to. I want to put a hurt on him, and that's the kind of stuff that we like in Nebraska.
You're exactly right, and I just feel like he wears down the defense, and then Emmett Johnson and company come in, and
Ramir. And great out of the backfield for Ramir Johnson as well. I love the pass catching ability of our other guys, and then Gabe Irvin. He's just an afterthought of a goal line back that can get in there if everybody else everybody else is tired. We need a 1 yard, 2 yard touchdown. He's right there for that. So it's awesome. I love the way that he's doing it right now. I like what you're saying though, and I think this is the game that Dante really puts that first depth chart on his name.
All right, so let's go with that consensus 7.5. Do you got the Huskers covering?
I do. I really do, Andy. Nebraska should be able to put up the points and slow down the Illinois offense enough to continue the strong start to the season. I believe Nebraska will win by at least 10 points, so I'm all the way up into 10 if people bet it up that high.
Oh, man, 10. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll go that far. But these two teams are 6-0 against the spread.
Yeah. Something's got to give.
Thus far here, they're 6-0 in regular wins as well.
Yeah.
And I think the trend is going to continue for home. This is the 400th consecutive sellout at Memorial Stadium.
Gonna be awesome.
And I was just thinking, like, oh my God, the juice was so good for the Colorado game. And Northern Iowa, the fans were amped up and the balloons were flying. I'm like, how can they keep that? How can they? Oh, the 400 sellout.
400 sellout at night.
Friday night.
Memorial Stadium.
Friday night. Nationals television audience.
Yep, on Fox.
So I just think there's going to be too much juice. The third quarter light show and fireworks. Thunderstruck with the drone show there in the north end zone. So, give me the Huskers. Give me them in a big way. I might get it back up to 8. That all the way up to 10, though. That kind of scares me.
Yeah, I know it does, but it's just the way that's going to happen. Illinois does have some, good pieces, and they're playing really good football, but I believe Nebraska at home has the edge in a big way.
There we go. Go Big Red.
Go Big Red.
Cover force one more time.
Yes, sir.
Let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. We've been enjoying the Ale Storm, the official beer of Nebraska's AAA baseball team, the Storm Chasers, and they are having a historic season, most wins in franchise history. How about that?
That's awesome.
Well, they got the right beer.
They got the right beer and the right team.
Nebraska Brewing Company, world class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.